Good morning and welcome to One Wise Woman. Day 2. This morning in my meditation practice, when asked what was needed to share today, frequency came through. And frequency is the rate at which something oscillates per unit of time. That's the definition. But what that means for a human, for you, for me, is the rate at which our cells vibrate in different parts of our body, and then also in a collective within our whole body, and then also within a collective of others. So we have our own electromagnetic field within our body, and that is created from our heart, has its own frequency, and our nervous system has its own frequency, and our brain has its own frequency. And all of those can be measured individually with scientific measurement tools, and then together the three create a coherent frequency. And that frequency changes for each person, and it changes based on what your thoughts are. It changes based on what your body's telling it. So our nervous system is in either a sympathetic or a parasympathetic state, and that will affect the different aspects of the frequency of the body. And then the heart has its own, well, of course it has its own frequency, but it emits the largest frequency of the entire body and brain. So the heart is actually the main factor that's impacting the rest of the body's frequency. Why does this matter? When our bodies run on a low frequency, that is often a state of fight or flight. That's a state of freeze. That is causing us to show up in a way that is not supporting ourselves or others. And when we emit a high frequency, or we're functioning on a high frequency, often that's the frequency of someone you would come into contact with who you might really enjoy, or you can really feel their presence or their light or their love. Versus a low frequency person is somebody who is often running in a negative in terms of their thinking, and they're often feeling very low, slow, out of sort kind of all the time. And so the goal for humans is to, well, for me and hopefully for you, is to raise my vibration and raise my frequency, and for you to raise your vibration and your frequency. And there are a multitude of different ways to do this. I personally really like to use daily frequency enhanced elixirs that are made from a company called Osmosis, and use them in the salon. I'm a trained master skin specialist on the entire line of skin and wellness products, but one of their lines of wellness is frequency enhanced elixirs, where the water is actually infused with frequency based on a specific ailment or a specific goal within the body, and water holds memory. And so we can actually take the frequency that's created and basically copy and paste it onto the water, and then it's held within the water. And then because our bodies are made of 70% to 80% water, our body will actually receive that frequency in the form of water, and then it will shift the frequency within the cells of our body. So it will actually change the way that our cells vibrate, or the rate at which our cells vibrate within our body. So that's one of the ways. And then another way is to work in the nervous system. And so when we can use specific tools to bring the nervous system back into modulation and shift the way the nervous system is reacting. So when we're in a sympathetic state, a state of fight, flight, freeze, and we want to go into a parasympathetic state of healing, recovery, safety, and we can use very specific tools that trigger the nervous system to go back into a parasympathetic state and modulate the waves that we see within the nervous system's range of emotional tolerance. And then the next way that I like to modulate the frequency within the body is through heart coherence. And this is something that I teach in my live classes. I teach it in my workshop, my cohort. I also teach it live in person in our salon. And this is a really beautiful way to actually bring the heart into coherence with the brain. And the reason that that's so important, yes, the heart creates the largest electromagnetic field within one person's body, but the heart also is sending 80 from the heart to the brain in terms of the pathways, and the brain is only sending about 20% of signals to the heart. So the heart is actually having a bigger impact on the way that we think and the way that we perceive the world around us, and also the way that we show up and live in our day. So when we move the heart into coherence, we can actually shift the entire frequency of the body, because that also shifts the nervous system. It also shifts the brain. So we're able to adjust the entire body's nervous system just by focusing in the heart. And then I also really love to work in meditation with the brain aspect. But for me, it's really key that the body is brought into the meditation. And let me clarify what that means. This is not movement. This is really intentional, conscious body work, in the sense that when in meditation, I really love to feel in my body what it feels like to live into the moment that I'm experiencing. And sometimes that's just a truly parasympathetic state where the body is in complete full rest and the mind can really focus on what is coming through or what the intuition is bringing. In meditation, depending on the type of meditation that I'm doing, if that's a receiving space, then I'm really focusing on keeping the body in a fully parasympathetic state and keeping the heart in coherence, and then allowing the intuition and divine source spirit to come and guide from there. If I'm focusing on a meditation where I'm actually creating something or I'm working to manifest something, then in that moment I really am energetically focusing on the body, being in the experience of what it is that I'm manifesting and feeling fully safe in that experience. So instead of it being an imagination of something, say, I don't know, we're manifesting going on a vacation. And instead of, manifesting it by thinking about the vacation and, my body's like, oh, I'm in my own bed at home and it's cold, or, however that feels in the body currently, the focus then shifts to how can we create the feeling in the body of being on vacation. And so that would be, maybe it's like lying on the beach and the sun shining on the body and in a bathing suit and warmth and, all these things. So how can we retrain or recreate that goal manifestation in the body, in the brain, in the heart, so that it becomes so real to the body as if it's felt it before, and then that manifestation can become more real in the future. And there's a whole school of thought on that. But in terms of going back to frequency and the alignment of frequency within our heart, mind, body, those are the basis of the tools. So frequency enhanced elixirs, nervous system modulation tools, heart coherence, and manifestation meditation, and also relaxation meditation or intuitive meditation. And so those are kind of the array of tools that I have in my arsenal right now in my toolbox, and that I teach to my students and to my friends and all the people that are in need of this work, because I really feel like when we tune into the entirety of our brain-body experience, it allows us to tune more into the depth of the collective experience and the spiritual experience, and allows us to really live in a 5D instead of just in our 3D. And I believe that our soul's path is so much bigger than where we are in the 3D. And so the more that we can live out of 3D and into bigger parts of our soul path, the more I believe that we come into our own true existence and what we're here to do. So thank you for listening. Welcome to my world of frequency. And please let me know if something aligns with you, if something doesn't align with you, if you have thoughts, questions, and I will be here. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining.